This is my 5th year teaching up at BYU in that entrepreneurship program. And without fail, every single time, I'm like, if I ran this school, I would make it a mandatory internship to go sell for the summer, regardless of what field you go into. And the reason is that skill set is so universal and so transferable, and it will just make you better in any field you go into. Like if you're a doctor, it'll make you a better doctor. Actually articulate your points, and you can persuade and you can lead. Like you're a spouse, it'll make you a better spouse, because you got to like
sell the vision.
You got and sell like why you're doing a good job. Right. You know what I mean? There's a difference between doing a good job and like having all of us acknowledge that you're doing a good job. And it's communication and it's persuasion and it's listening. And these are all the skills that you learn in that summer. And I think people kind of stick their nose up to it and say, oh, well, you know, that's menial work. I'm going to go do the real work. And all I do all day, every day is sell. Mm-hmm. I'm selling my kids on why they should like put in better effort. I'm selling my wife on why she's doing such a good job and why I'm, you know, doing a good job too. We're super lucky to have each other. And I'm, you know, selling the people that I work with on why we're so lucky to have the job we have and, you know, how awesome our opportunity is. And then it's selling investors on why we're a great company and why they should invest with us versus 50 other companies. You know what I mean? And it's all day, every day selling. Right. And I'm like, thank the good Lord that I had years of 6 days a week, 10 hours a day,
talking to people
to master that skill set.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when do you have that? When you get so many reps.
A lot of folks that think that this door-to-door stuff is trivial or beneath you, you got it twisted. There's companies, there's people that pay billions and billions and billions of dollars for that talent base, for that skill set. Don't get it twisted. Business is sales, whether you want to accept it or not. Yeah. Everything is sales. Being a dad is sales. Go to bed. No, I said go to bed. And you got to negotiate with your kids. They're better sales people than we are. Yeah. But everything is sales. Being a teacher sells. Being a doctor sells. Being a doctor, hey, take your prescription medicine. This is why. These are the consequences if you don't. Should be your nutrition program, so forth and so on. Like everything is sales. And the purest form of selling is direct to the consumer. And going and creating a customer. Before you knock on that door, they were cooking. They're watching a soap opera. They were yelling at each other, whatever the case was. And then you got to go in, neutralize that situation, have them leave that element in which they were in and come into your world in a very elegant fashion so that you can create value for them.
I had a mission president who retired at 35, and it like blew my world because I had never met someone that had retired at a super young age like that. And so it caused me to start thinking, how could I do something similar? So the first week I got back from my mission, I interviewed the top 10 most successful people I knew in my ward or in the city of Gilbert, Arizona. And a lot of them would always say, like, read this, read that, go do this, go learn, go watch YouTube. Yeah. And so I did that. And so the first year and a half of being home, literally I was in school, but I always had an AirPod in. I always had something playing in my car, whether it was Audible, YouTube, you know how it is. And so I was consuming probably 8 to 10 hours of audio content a day. And I went out that summer to do my first year of summer sales. I learned so much that summer. It was the application of everything I'd been learning over the last year and a half. So it was fun to put to the test. I made 118 grand in 4.5 months.
And Casey Ball walks in, and this is a super pivotal moment in my life. Casey Ball walks in when I'm just hanging out, doing my thing, like chilling, and out of nowhere, he's like, hey, do you need a job? And I already had 2 jobs, mind you, but I was like, yeah, absolutely, because I would literally do anything for money. Like, I knew I needed money. I wanted to go and do the things everyone else was doing. I wanted to have the things everyone else had. I'm like, yeah, absolutely, I'll do whatever. He's like, okay, cool, I need someone to stock my fridge and wash my cars. I'm like, okay, bet, like, absolutely. Yeah. And this man was like living my dream, had a Porsche, G-Wagon, Raptor, massive house with a pool, always traveling, like doing his thing, young guy, had an in-home gym, like everything that I would have ever wanted. So I start stocking his fridge, washing his cars, a couple weeks goes by, and I take a ton of pride in it, which I'm really glad I did. And then he says, Zach, you've been doing great. I want you to read this book. And he gave me As a Man Thinketh. And he said, when you read this book, I'm gonna pay you $100 every time you read one of the books I give you and come back and give me a book report. And I was like, bet. I was like, hell yeah. And I hated reading. I'm not good in school. That's not my thing, but $100 is my thing for sure. Right, so I would go and I'd read this book, I'd go give him a report, and I started doing this pretty consistently. And at first, all I really cared about was the $100 for sure. But then I started to notice like the value that I was getting out of these books, right? Think and Grow Rich, The Happiness Advantage, all of the Covey books, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, John C. Maxwell books, John Wooden books, like all of these books. I started actually getting some really valuable lessons out of them, and it totally started to change how I looked at the world, which was massive for me. It's coming up senior year. I don't know what I'm going to do, and I don't really want to go to college, but I don't have anything better to do, so I'm planning on college. But I didn't have a ton of direction. Talking to my dad and my stepmom and my mom now, they're like, dude, when you were in high school, we were like worried. We didn't know what the hell you were going to do. Like, you had a hard time taking the trash out. which is, if you know anyone like that, they're typically pretty lazy and they don't do a lot. And the weird thing was, is when I wanted to do something, I didn't mind if it was hard, right? When I wanted to do something, I would give it any amount of effort. So I asked Casey, I'm like, hey man, I don't know what I'm gonna do out of high school. What should I do? He's like, dude, you should sell. You should do door-to-door sales. And I'm like, okay, like, cool.
I think about rejection, and I'm like, rejection's a gift. If you can gracefully work through rejection, and it doesn't bury you, and it doesn't weaken your resolve or weaken your spirit, you're almost unstoppable. So many people are so scared of getting rejected that they never try. And when they do get rejected, they get bogged down. You can't control if somebody says yes, but you can control the top end of the funnel. You can control the number of contacts. You can control your preparation in the morning. You can control your emotional state.
100%.
You can control the energy that you show up to that day and that appointment. You can control starting early and finishing late. And all those things like fall directly within your control. And so for me, it's like, if I can define success in a circle that I can actually control the outcome, that's so much more empowering than something way out here that I have no say if it works or it doesn't. That's a very disempowering thing because you have no control of the outcome. And I think it's like it's an emotional muscle of just learning how to frame rejection in a positive light. It's a trained skill. There's not a skill I have in my life, in my business career, that's more important than to be able to deal with rejection gracefully and to reframe it as one step closer to accomplishing my goal. That was the byproduct of a lot of years of knocking doors.
It's like last summer in 3.5 months working with my uncle, I made over $500,000. And I was just floored. Like I was like, $500,000. People go to school for 8 years to try to make that much. Crazy. He had done some pest control sales for his uncle. He was like, hey, I'm starting my own company here in Utah. He's like, just come work with me. Don't go back and work as an electrician. Don't go do anything else. Like, you should stick around here and do it with me. Like, dude, there's no chance. Like, this sounds like the crappiest job ever. I have no desire to run around and knock doors all summer. Like, I want to spend time with my girlfriend, just go home, spend time with my family. And honestly, I was pretty worried that I wasn't going to be good at it. Up to that point, I was pretty good at everything else I'd participated in. Super worried about what other people were going to think. I was like, I don't want to go out here, suck, quit, and have it be like I failed, you know? And I was like, dude, I think I'm good. He was like, I promise you that the lessons that you'll learn in of himself are worth it. But he also told me the money was really good and I can make a lot of it. And I was just thinking, dude, worst case scenario is if I do go out and suck at this, that's my backup plan. And if I don't do this at all, that's my first plan. So might as well go give this a shot. Yeah, I went out, did it my very first summer. Ended up really, really liking it a lot more than I thought I was going to. Making a decent chunk of money. I mean, way more money than I thought I was going to make. And just kind of hooked on more commission type jobs from there.
What would you tell someone that's trying to decide if they should knock doors or not?
That's a good question, especially for you young people out there. Like, I honestly wish that I made a decision sooner than 25. But for those who are looking to get into sales, I tell people all the time, you are going to get more value being in the door-to-door space than the company is going to be from you. Like the negotiation 100%. Skills, the communication skills. But for me, what made the biggest difference was the rooms and the people that I was around, because I wasn't taught financial literacy, because I wasn't taught how to invest. Like, the knowledge and the mentors and the people who were willing to, at no cost walk me through things was a lot more valuable than me even knocking doors. People are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to go and get a degree in communications, to go and get a degree in like negotiations or in business. And it's like, you are getting a fast track to that here. And not only that, you are having professors who are literally helping you skip all those years to basically be mentored and start businesses day one, if that's what you're wanting to do. Right. And for me, I'm just like forever grateful for like the managers and the leaders who basically taught me the things that I didn't grow up with. Wow. Like, there wasn't college to learn it. There wasn't like family members. It was, you get that excuse all the time. Well, how do you invest? How do you budget? How do you get into real estate? And it's like, you get around people who are doing it and pay them for their time or show them some type of value.
I had already done summer sales. I'm the one that kind of sold him on it. Wow. And pushed him into that way. I was like, dude, I made bank. It's going to be awesome. Like, you'll work for just this set amount of time and you'll make bank. And then you're free. You're free to do whatever you want. And then you do it again the next summer and you're free again. And I walked away going, whoa, I'm a totally different person. It's changed how I speak to people. It's changed how I listen to people. And it has especially changed how I read them. It became about, what does this person really need? I found myself with easy sales where they were like, yeah, dude, I want an alarm. I'm like, I mean, your credit's shot. Like, there's just no way. But I can see you're a spender and you want it just because it's another new fancy thing, right? But then there were those other people that you're talking to that I'd really have to dig. And the more I dug, the more I found out, this is a thing. This is a thing. Everyone has something in their heart. Everyone has a need and a want. Everyone. And all you have to do to be successful is figure out how you're going to be the one to deliver that.
Dude, becoming a millionaire at 22 was actually pretty easy for me. I had made some money doing sales and I wanted to get into real estate, but everyone was telling me that it was insane to get in real estate. And this was back in 2019. Everyone said that the prices were at the highest they'd ever been. There was no way they were gonna go up, and I'd be an idiot to not wait for the crash. But I trusted my gut. I ran the numbers on properties and I realized that there was good cash flow. So even if the properties did go down in value, it wouldn't matter because I could still pay the mortgage and have cash flow. And sure enough, purchased a bunch in 2019 and 2020. The real estate market just went like this because interest rates dropped. Probably purchased 15 doors and all of them doubled, if not tripled. So that's why it was pretty easy for me to become a millionaire at 22.
I think I want to be in sales. Should I get into real estate or cars? He just kind of laughed at me and he's like, I think you'd be good at sales. He's like, but I don't think you need to decide that right now. Just learn good principles now and you can take what opportunities happen. Your way. Yeah. And then what happened is my cousin had decided he was going to get married and he had no money. So he decided he was going to do summer sales. Hey, Tosh, I'm going to go sell this summer. You should come with. And I said, no, like I've knocked enough doors.
Yes.
Like
hang
I
out
want
with your friends,
yeah,
chase girls.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then as the summer got closer, I realized that, hey, like the high school summers are a thing of the past. Like my friends are getting internships and jobs and some of the girls are already married, but I was fortunate. My cousin was taking this really serious. Like he needed the money. He had put his engagement ring and his honeymoon on a credit card. Like he needed this summer to work. And so he was all in.
You burn the boats though.
Correct. And he was good. But that made me think, well, I can't let my cousin outdo me. So we were like back and forth all summer. It was a good summer. We finished like number 1 and 2 as rookies in the company. I met my wife that summer in the singles ward out there. That was good once. I don't think I'm going to do it again. As the summer got closer, I'm like, I'd be stupid not to do this again. So and then I led a team. And that was when things really clicked that I love this. That's what makes my fire burn is when I can help someone change their life.
It sounds more stressful guaranteeing that I have to work.
Right.
Or, shooting my shot and potentially not having to work during the school year at all. I truly considered not doing sales. I said, okay, let's say sales is off the table. What do we do instead?
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, Beth worked 40 hours a week during the summer. I work 40 hours a week. So we're still both full-time working.
Right.
But then we'd also have to work during the school year. Luckily, I went out and sold. I did 227 my first year, which... Okay. Yeah, to anyone listening, I made like 40, 45 grand.
If you're willing to do what other people aren't willing to do, you can have the life that others can't. And that always just kind of stuck with me. That principle was ingrained in me at an early age.
Wow.
And again, I didn't really know how I was going to do that. I just had this extreme motivation and all this emotion around that concept. And so fast forward a little bit, got back off of an LDS mission and going to college, and I got recruited, come out and knock doors. About halfway through the summer, the majority of our team had already quit. But then I remember very clearly one of the regional managers came out and he talked about how anybody that sold 100 accounts could qualify to be a manager the next year. And for me, the switch flipped. I'm like, hey, you know what? I saw an opportunity. Like, I'm already here. I might be able to qualify for that. And so anyway, finished up at 121 sales, made $31,000, which for me was incredible. Like that was more than my parents ever made. Anyway, came back next year as a first year sales manager, made $156,000. And so to be able to make that my first year as a sales manager and come back next year, make like $260,000 and keep, kind of doubling and growing that was really incredible for me.